morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Afro-Scientific Spirituality. My name is Evie West, reaching you live and direct from the heart of Africa. If this is your first time on the channel, you are highly welcome. This is a place where we separate the facts from the fiction, the science from the superstition, and the concept from the misconceptions about African spirituality. Today, we'll be talking about how to separate the science from the tradition in African spirituality. This is a question that was asked by a subscriber, and I think it's a very, very important question. And we need to know about it so that we can be able to understand how African societies work and how to really separate the science from the traditional practices so that we can know what we are doing and we can be able to work with almost any spiritual system we come across. So before we go into this topic, we need to first define the difference between science and tradition. Okay? So first of all, what is the definition of tradition? According to your English dictionary, tradition is simply the passing down of information, beliefs, customs and traditions from one generation to another. Nothing more, nothing less. In other words, it's a way of passing down the knowledge of how a society should work or how a society work. And these are usually rules or laws or customs that are set up by men, man-made. They are purely man-made. That is what you need to know here. A group of people will come together and say, from now on, we are going to be doing things in a certain way, and everybody will agree. And they start doing things in that way, and it becomes tradition of that people. That's why we have different people all over the world with different type of traditions based on the group of people that came together to accept those laws to be guiding them. So the key to know this is that it is purely man-made, okay? It has nothing to do with nature. Some group of men came together and they say this law and they now start living according to it. So write that down. Then science. When we say science, what is the definition? The basic definition of science simply means the way of learning about the natural world using observation and logical reasoning. So science is a way of learning about life, about nature. That is why they say science is discovery. And knowledge is gained through the study and practice of scientific principles. So this study and practice makes use of observation and experimentation to describe and explain natural phenomena. Okay, there's a term that the science use which refers to the organized body of knowledge people have gained using that system. We call that scientific definitions, scientific inquiry, scientific investigations. So science is simply a way of finding out things about nature. What we do in this channel, Afro-Scientific Spirituality, is focusing on the scientific aspect of African spirituality. So here I don't talk about tradition. If you have noticed, I never talk about tradition. I'm only focused on talking about what works and how to apply it to improve our life. And I believe that that is the best approach to studying spirituality. So in essence, every spiritualist is a scientist. And that is how it has always been right from time. In ancient Africa, we have always been scientists by nature because we study nature through observation and logical reasoning. We look at natural phenomena. We try to discover why this occurs in a certain way, and then we duplicate it and then we get results. So the spells that we do here, the mixing and enchantments and what we do on this channel, they are all based on scientific foundation and scientific principles because they can be reduplicated. Okay, so this is the difference between my channel and other people's channel. Most of the magicians out there, they'll be telling you bogus stories that cannot be reduplicated. But here we try to stay on that scientific lane as much as possible. Look for a solution to a particular problem and try to get the remedy and see if it can be reduplicated. If it can be reduplicated and validated, then we have gotten a solution for this problem, and then we can now share that solution to people. So these have always been the essence of African spirituality. So in ancient Africa, we have altars and shrines. The altars and shrines of people is our laboratory. That is supposed to be your laboratory where you do your scientific observations, experiment, study, investigations, and inquiries. Okay? Because it is a place that is separated from the other parts of the household, from the mundane world. That is the place that you do your interactions with the spirit realm. That is where you focus, and that is where you test your hypothesis and you get your results of the experiment. So if you want to be a serious practitioner, you must have an altar. Okay, you cannot escape this fact. You must have an altar because that is a dedicated spot for you to be doing your experiments and interacting with the unseen universe or the quantum realm or the plasma realm. Okay, so you must have an altar. I have seen people that to say they don't need altars. You can actually do it without that, but you need to be really, really advanced. Before you get to the stage that you don't need an altar, you must be an advanced practitioner. Not many people can do that. There are people that have more than one altar. It is very normal. Most practitioners, they have like 2 or 3. I have seen practitioners that have 10. I have seen a practitioner that have 13 altars. So you will understand that this person does a lot of experimentation for you to have that many altars. You actually need to know what you are doing, and you have to take your spiritual practice very seriously. Most practitioners have 2, 3, 4. It is very normal. As you go deep, you start doing so many things with the spirit world, interacting, testing a lot of theories, and creating your hypothesis and creating spells. You will find out that you need to actually expand your work. There are practitioners that have an altar and they have a lab. The altar is where they give reverence and interface. The lab is where they do practical spells and do a lot of experimentation. So it is very normal to see practitioners like this. When you go deep, you'll be shocked at what people have in their houses. I have seen people that have a lot of stuff in their houses. When you go to some traditional practitioners, even some Western practitioners, you will discover that they have laboratories where they do a lot of working, alchemy, systems that they are using, transmutations, and all sort of experiments are being done by scientists and spiritualists all over the world. So your altar, the African altar, is your interface. That is your laboratory. So for you to really take this serious, you must try to get a place where you'll be doing your experimentation and testing your spells and practicing. You must practice. So we spiritualists, we are scientists. All of us are scientists. Okay, that is what we don't follow tradition. Tradition are just what men make to identify themselves as separate from other people. Take for instance now, you can go to a tribe. They'll tell you that in this tribe, if somebody wants to get married, you need to pay like maybe 20 pieces of gold as a bride price. Some tribe will tell you need to get 100 cows. I think at the Dinka tribe in South Sudan, we tell you want to get married to one of our guests here, the bride price is 100 cows or something like that. Some other tribe will tell you that you want to get married, you just bring a bottle of whiskey. But what does the marriage entails naturally? The main thing or the most important thing that makes people want to get married is to have children, or for companionship, or for love. The tradition of bringing bride price, is it that tradition that is going to produce the children? No. Is this the tradition that is going to produce the love? No. That is just what the men set up to, like, as a kind of ceremony for the marriage. It is not the main thing. The main thing is the coming together of the male and the female to actually fall in love and copulate to produce children. That is the most important thing. So if you separate that tradition, the marriage or the coming together of the male and the female to produce children is the most important thing, and that is the science of bringing new people into the world. The tradition of the 100 cows or the 50 pieces of gold or the bottle of whiskey, it does not have anything to do with the natural process of copulation. Okay, it's just a tradition, it's just a formality to get people together to form a social gathering, a social activity. Okay, so this is how you separate tradition from science. When you come to Africa, you will discover that we have different diverse traditions for almost everything. You go to some culture, every little thing is a tradition. There's a way you greet people. Some people will say that the way we greet in this culture, we kneel down to greet our elders. Some we say you bow your head to greet your elders. Some we say you do like this to greet your elders. Some we even say you have to lie down. The Yoruba culture in West Africa, you prostrate, you lie down flat to greet your elders. That is their own culture there. There was one funny incident that happened in my place a long time ago. A very big man, very wealthy man, he escorted somebody to get married to, escorted a younger man to get married to a Yoruba girl. He never knew the culture. He dressed very well, expensive regalia. When he got there, they told him, in order to greet people here, you need to lie down. The guy prostrated more than 10 times. He hated himself. He felt humiliated because he had never done that in his life. He came back very, very mad. He said he didn't know that it's like it was punishment. Everywhere you go, they will say you have to lie down, you have to lie down on the ground. They keep lying down. It's like they were torturing them to get. And we don't have that in our culture. We don't need to lie down to greet people. But this man was forced to do this all because he wants his friend's child to get married. So it was very humiliating to him. Now, as big as I am, I have to do this. But in order to facilitate the marriage, he did it. So people have to pass through different customs. When you go to some places, they tell you this is how we do here. Some cultures I've seen in Europe that you spit in their hands, then you have to shake the person to show that this is a sign of peace. In my culture, that is gross. You cannot spit in your hand and expect me to shake the same hand. But this is the culture of those people. You go to that place in order not to offend them. You will do the same thing they are doing. You can't even call it rubbish. You have just destroyed the whole relationship. You just smile and accept the culture. What is the science behind that? There's no science. They will tell you this is a way of spreading germs and bacteria and infecting people, but it is somebody's culture. So we have some culture and traditions that are primitive, that should be outdated. We have so many of them. You will see we have some culture in the primitive tribe back in Nigeria. If they're born twins, they will say that twins are abomination. They will kill the twin child. We have some backward cultures and tradition that does not make sense, that needs to be abolished. Many of them have been abolished, and as time goes on, more and more are becoming more abolished. There are some cultures that if the man died, the woman have to shave her hair for more than a year, have to put on black. Those kind of cultures, most of them have been overturned. Traditions that does not make sense. These are people, group of men that just come and put this kind of traditions together that doesn't make sense. And there's people follow them, that this is the way my forefathers have been doing this. This is the way I'm supposed to be doing it. Nobody asks question. But when somebody starts asking questions, they view you as an outcast. Then with time, sometimes the society will just mature and say this does not make sense. We need to do away with this. So the tradition we have, the people will start evolving and leaving some outdated customs, leave them behind. Or sometimes when people all over start laughing at them, they will now say, okay, we need to change. This is not good. People don't like it. This is how some of these cultures also evolve as well. So when you want to practice African spirituality, you need to know that there are some kind of barbaric or nonsensical cultures or traditions that you will find in Africa. You need to be able to separate these traditions from the scientific evaluation or inquiry that you are doing to know what you can get out of this culture. Okay, let's say you want to study how to do a particular spell. There are some spells that will tell you that they will say, okay, you want to do this spell, you need to buy gold, buy this, buy that, buy that, buy that before we do the spell, or you need to go and sleep at a certain place for 3 days. Then we need some kind of things that you need to bring to do the spell. Most times when you have those kind of requirements in some tradition, cumbersome things, I call it some methods that are very, very cumbersome. You'll be surprised that at the end of the day, after getting all those items, most of them are not really required. They are not really required, but they were requested for. Then you ask the question, why did you ask? What are you doing with this? They will tell you it's a tradition. It's the tradition. And you have to accept that in order for you to learn what you are learning or to be humble to the people, you have to accept their custom and their tradition. But if you are somebody that is like me, that is only interested in getting results and not interested in wasting your time, you will try to look for the most active ingredients and go after those ingredients and use them. You will find out that when you do your experimentation with this and you take out the expensive time wasting ceremonies, you find out that you get the same results. So that is how you know. Most of the times we do a lot of ceremonies. Maybe you want to do a prosperity spell ceremony, you want to heal a sick child, there's a ceremony. Your wife just delivered, there's a ceremony. Naming ceremony is a very big deal in African spirituality. Most spiritualists will come out, this is a good time, we need to call in good spirit for the destiny of the child, blah, 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 blah. You need to do a big party, you need to bring money, this is safe delivery, that will tell you all sorts of stories. Of course, it's a good thing when a child arrives, but breaking your bank for that kind of ceremony, it does not really warrant it. The main thing that is involved in the naming ceremony is giving the name to the child and maybe doing a little divination or appeasing the spirits or thanking the spirits for. It does not really have to be that expensive. This is what you can do as a parent by yourself without involving a third party. Okay? So when you see this kind of traditions we have in our cultures, you can actually do without them and just go straight to the science. The science is giving offerings to the ancestors, maybe giving a little offering to the sea or the river, and thanking your ancestral spirits, and that is all. It's very simple thing you can do. But in most traditions, they will turn it into a giant ceremony where that involves you maybe renting canopies or inviting more than 50 to 100 people, spending unnecessary money, which you may not have. Now, you find people borrowing money to do naming ceremonies just because they had a baby. Even churches that adopted this practice, is a big deal now. You have a baby, you have to do a Thanksgiving ceremony in a church, assuming like it was God that impregnated your wife to get the baby. God have no business when you and your wife are doing what you are doing. There is no God there, just both of you. So I don't see why a third party should be involved where there is a result of what you have been doing in the darkness all the days of your life. So traditions, you should learn how to separate traditions from the science. So we have lots of dumb tradition or traditions that are unnecessary in African spirituality. They are placed there to just encourage social cohesion in the community. Not that they actually have any spiritual significance. They don't really have spiritual significance. They are just there to make the society run. Most times, they are not really necessary to do these big ceremonies, to spend money for these some other funny things. They are not necessary. Some are even outdated. A custom like female genital mutilation. We have this tradition in many African societies, female circumcision, which is a very bad tradition, but they have it, and now we have managed to abolish it in so many of our customs. It is not necessary, but somewhere along the line, some some myopic men came together and start saying that they have to be circumcising women so that they will not be promiscuous when they are old. It is a way of oppressing women, if you ask me. Trying to control women, control the bodies of women, and control the freedom of women. The tradition holds no basis. There is no scientific fact to prove the validity of that. And it's even destroying the reproductive system of women. It has destroyed the sex life of so many women. It makes them not even feel anything during sex, destroy their sensitivity. These are traditions that are totally horrible, horrendous, and should not be practiced. There's nothing scientific about them, nothing good about them. We need to learn how to separate all these kind of traditions from science. So when you're in African spirituality, let's say you are interested in a particular spiritual system, you should be very, very observant in knowing what works. Just focus on the main thing. Any kind of ceremony, remove your mind from it. Those things are man-made. You need to focus on the things of nature, the natural elements and components that they are using for the spiritual processes. That is what you should be focusing on. The ceremony itself, most of the time, is just a distraction. To be honest, one simple secret I need to let you guys know in African spirituality, most of the spells we do, they are very, very simple to do. They are so simple that most times you just need just one or two items. Just one leaf is enough, one herb, or two, just mixture. But if it's so simple that if they tell you, you will not believe it, and the spiritualists will not have any money. So most times they try to complicate it so that you will take it seriously, and spiritualists can live life and be able to take care of his children and send his children to school. The stuff is so simple that you will not believe it will solve your problem. So that is one secret that many people don't know about African spirituality. It's very simple to practice, but most times they use tradition to make it complicated, to make it so that everybody will not know it, and also to the custodians of the society, they need to kind of live, but now they are taking too much advantage and abusing that privilege and defrauding people, making lots of money. So it is something that is not hard to practice, and you just need to find out what works, focus on the science, separate from the tradition. That is the secret. If you can be able to separate all these tradition, peel the skin off the unnecessary parts, you're going to see that the things that we actually do are pretty straightforward and are backed up by serious scientific principles. You can just we see that tradition always go with superstition most times. You will discover that most of these superstitious beliefs are lies to put fear into people or to hoodwink the eyes of people. What I try to do in this channel is to separate the superstitious belief so that we will know the fact, we will know what really is happening. Lots of African spiritual system is fraughted with superstitions. Some of the reasons they are doing this is to hide the mystery of the science, or to put fear into people so that they can control the minds of people, or just balance lies that some old men think up from their mind, and due to their limited reasoning just say it's true and it's not true, and they start passing on this lie from generation to generation, and trying to push it as a scientific fact. So this is what you need to know. There's a lot of misconception, a lot of tradition in African spirituality, but if you are a very keen observer, you can be able to discover the science from the superstitious belief and separate the concept from the misconceptions and the fact from the fiction, and you get the main stuff. That is what you need to know. Okay, if you approach African spirituality like this, you will not be bamboozled. You will get the main stuff from the matter, and that is what I am doing on this channel. Okay, so this is what I think about the subject. I would like to know your opinions. Questions and comments are welcome. Once again, please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel. And I also want to announce that my Patreon membership for people that are interested in knowing the deep secret of African spirituality, I have started that. You can join the membership, and you will get access to videos that I cannot just place on YouTube for everybody to see. You will get access to private and confidential videos. You will know how to practice African spirituality in your own home, under your own privacy, and you will know a lot of things if you join that. You will know a lot of secret stuff. So I think that is all for today, and I will see you in the next video. So take care and bye. Peace.